This is my 240SX that was totaled years ago, and I rebuilt it into this drift car. And my goal is to take it on a 2-week-long rally called Drift Week, where you literally drive your car thousands of miles on public roads to track drifting everywhere. But the problem is that the car won't drive anymore because it's broken and has multiple problems that don't make it a good drift car. So I started by removing the radiator that was leaking like crazy and the stock angle kit. I also purchased all of the parts that's going to make my new angle kit work and started the process of dismantling my motor to install everything. I know it sounds like a lot, but it's the best angle kit on the market. And what completes the angle kit even more are the fuel coilovers that I've had for years, which have been a great fit for my car, but only accounts for half of my suspension. This WiseFab kit will add the last 50% to not only make it the best suspension, but also give me 80 degrees of angle. And luckily for me, it finally arrived. This kit that I have been waiting for is going to make it the best kit ever. And what you do, and what you'll do to all these cars, is you modify the front subframe so you can actually make the car's driving experience better. Now that the WiseFab kit is here, we can now modify the subframe, add the entire kit to the car, and I can show you guys everything that I'm doing to my S14 2JZ swap that makes so much power and is reliable and fun to drive, how it's gonna be the best car ever. The rack is currently placed here, which is your steering, and we are going to be placing it in the front. And not only are we placing it in the front, we are going to be using a completely different rack from an M3 BMW. So this rack is gonna be then placed here. So in order for me to put that on, I have to move the oil pan from here to back over here. And so I've already taken all the bolts out. I've already taken the subframe off, which is over there, moved the oil pan from here to here, put the subframe and put the rack, which used to be here, to in this spot here. A lot of moving parts here. And then that rack is supposed to move here, which this connects to my steering wheel. But let's open up the kit and I get to see everything inside and show you how this is all gonna happen. I do wanna thank WiseFab for, being a part of this video and helping me out with making this possible. But this all comes with instruction manuals, stickers. Yeah, and this is the whole relocation kit for the rack. The most important thing is this relocation kit. Like, you can get a steering kit for your car and still have all the problems if you don't cut up your rack and add it relocated. Like, you'll still have a horrible car. This is the most mandatory thing everybody does on all of their cars to make it the best driving experience it can be. I get to see my baby in real life. So long. Oh my God, this is so exciting. This is literally like Christmas. Isn't that one thing your entire life you're like, this is what I want to buy, and you just tell yourself just not to because you know it's stupidly expensive and you don't need it? I don't need this, but holy crap, I want it. See how it's like supposed to fit here? Oh. Look at that. Ugh. There's like cuts and incisions you have to make. Now, with the best part of this kit, we're gonna be opening the rack relocation that requires me to literally have that BMW rack over there. So this is what I'm gonna be doing in this video. I'm gonna be cutting up this and I'm gonna be welding in this. So we're gonna be going over all the directions of what I have to do to install this. This is some high level stuff, man. Oh, wow, this is gonna be a little bit of work. So that goes somewhere in there, and then this goes somewhere else, and this goes some. Oh, I got a little bit of welding to do, and got a lot more learning to do too. So to begin the process, I have to start cutting my subframe using the templates given to me by WiseFab to allow me to fit the relocation kit. I also have to fit the angle kit, but I'll go through all the parts for that later on. The WiseFab kit wasn't the only thing I bought to make this happen. I've got a front sump oil pan, but I need a rear sump. Since I'm moving the steering rack forward 7 inches, the rear sump oil pan I picked up is what's gonna bring it all together. Before we can start work on the oil pan, I'm gonna give it a quick power wash. To help clean them better, I'm gonna use a degreaser agent. I'll let that soak for about 20 minutes and get myself situated in the garage. Okay, so I have these in here drying, and then in here, I'm gonna probably hand wash these a little bit more. They've got gunk in areas I can't reach. But as of right now, I wanna focus on this. I'm gonna spend some time on trying to get this cut up. I have these out and ready to go, so I'm gonna work on this right now. So while the other parts were soaking, I started using the templates included with the manual to cut the subframe to fit with the new angle kit. So far, so good. It looks clean, somewhat. Now that I got it all figured out, I think I can handle the rest of this. Well, I kind of overdid that one a little bit, but it was supposed to go straight, notch, and then go this way. My first one was better, but I don't think that's gonna be the worst thing in the world. I think I could fill that up with weld, so yeah. All right, back to the drawing board. In order for the new rack to fit, I have to cut out all of this metal in my subframe. Later on in the instructions, I'm going to be adding some new plates to hold the new rack and reinforce the subframe. as of right now, I've gotten pretty far. I'm very curious on how they would like for me to cut a lot of this stuff. I got as much as I could done with a grinder. The rest I might do with a Dremel when it comes to these edges. This is gonna be a very tough one to get. I think what I'm gonna do is drill there, drill there, drill here, drill here. So what I'm probably gonna do is do it tomorrow. So now that I've cut the entire top side off, I'm gonna use my Dremel that I have been using to cut now the bottom side and clean up everything else. Okay, so far really exciting. This is what it looks like I have now too. So if you look at it from this angle here, it's kind of what it looks like we have, right? That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So now what we are going to do is cut the inside here. So I have to cut out almost all this. I believe they have number 5 is supposed to fit in this area, I believe. So I'm gonna cut that out and then we'll see what the next steps look like. But so far, this is how far I've gone. And I have not used a grinder before. This is the first time I've actually fully used a grinder to do a project and work on something like this. Is the first fab work that I've done. This is huge steps for me, realistically. So yeah, super excited about that. Let's get that done. Tuki's such a cute dog. Oh, that's cool. Number 5 fits right here like this. And then I'm supposed to cut out all that. Cool. So I will work on marking that and start cutting away. My widow grinder. He's so cute. Look at him. Okay, so I'm glad I'm in this position. I decided to cut less than I needed and then cut more if I needed it, because you can never just add more metal in this situation. You probably can, but I don't want to do that. So I'm adding or taking a lot of metal off here. I'm having to trim here and over on all these other places. So I'm doing good so far. So I'm working my way. Damn, I'm getting so dirty. I don't know what it is, but I've cleaned this entire thing and it is so dirty now. All right, so far so good. I've got the rack on here and now I'm marking all the spots that I'm gonna be welding. I'm gonna clean up the welds. I'm going to be degreasing all of this. And I think they want me to actually put the rack on. They want me to like really put this thing on like if it was gonna stay on here. And they want me to weld it all on while this is here. So I have to protect this and try to figure out how I'm gonna cover it up while I'm welding. So yeah, I'm gonna start tacking some of the spots up right now. All right, so this is how I'm gonna be prepping it. I'm gonna be doing this everywhere. So now, in order to make this conversion work, I have to put this pan on. So what I'm gonna be doing to make this pan applicable to what I have to drill out this hole here and tap this. You can see I've already done that already. And as you can see, I started sanding this area so I can get a nice smooth finish on here. I'm using a big flat piece of steel and some sandpaper so I can try to get as flat as possible because I can't get it machined. Then the next thing I'm gonna do after that is I'm gonna be cleaning up around the surface of all of this here. And once I get that cleaned up, I will be cleaning up it on the oil pan here and then try to bend this back because it has an indent in it and we want to make sure that the pickup tube can actually properly pick up oil. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna get into it. Now I want to be drilling the hole through here. That is some thick ass metal, holy crap. All right, so this is about where I have it. Pretty happy with it. It's taken me probably 30 minutes just to get here. So this is good, I'm happy with this. I'll probably make a gasket material, use RTV on it or something. Okay, so while this dries, I'm gonna start focusing on dismantling this entire lower pan and yeah, getting ready for that pan to go on. Here she goes. That's all my f***ing weight. I'm doing a f***ing pull-up on my oil pan with no f***ing bolts in it. Well, everything's going good so far. Just trying to get this off. Just kind of hard. I'm getting it. Slowly but surely. 20 minutes later. And all my tools are oily. Okay, I got it off I'm gonna do the rest tomorrow. So after all day of work, I set up the lower subframe with the oil pan, and it looks like it's not gonna fit. And I hit up Wisefab on what to do, but I hope this is like a good how-to video on how to do this. But we're gonna hear from them and figure out what it is that I'm gonna have to do to make this fit. All right, so I went over pros and cons, and it just only makes sense to do this. And I brought in some help. My buddy Manny, I've met him a while ago. Manny, right? Yeah. Okay, what if I got that wrong? It'd be so funny. What we're gonna have to do here is this oil pan needs to clear this lower subframe. So I'm gonna cut this out. Not only cut it out, but I'm gonna be notching it into. This part, right, needs to be past here. So it's only about 2.5 inches, but I wanted to kind of go for 3 to be safe. So now the goal is we have to pull the motor out. But before we pull the motor out, I wanna look at everything that's gonna be moving back. So even when it comes to this, if this moves back 2 inches, is it gonna hit? Are we gonna have to move it? Are we gonna have to redesign it? They're probably not gonna go out the same part of the hood, but I'm not worried about the hood. I'm worried about everything else that it's attached to it. There's quite a bit that needs to be done now. I was not expecting this at all. This turned into an actually full rebuild. It is insane what we're about to do on this car.
No, we're about to do like a whole build it back up.
So while I've been working in the background here, cutting up this so we can just actually see the clearance that we need to make, Manny's been over here working on taking out the exhaust and the driveline because we're gonna have to order that here soon. So we're getting the car dismantled even more, almost ready to be pulled actually. So yeah, and it's gonna be kind of cool to be able to do the exhaust. It'd be a lot easier like this. So I'll do that later. That's probably one of the last steps I'm gonna do. Yeah. So this is the old rack location. There you go. That's it off. So now we can actually see how much room we actually have to work with. It's actually a pretty good cut for a grinder and a kid that's never used one.
While I was getting ready to pull the motor and change almost absolutely everything about this car, I realized that I probably would not be able to make the deadline for Drift Week. So I decided to call a friend, and he came over to discuss our options on what I could do to modify the oil pan to make room instead of moving the entire motor back 3 inches.
Take a white marker, mark this pan like yay, and then I know about how much we can do here. That's easy, man.
Okay, so really cool discovery yesterday. After I met with Brian, we kind of figured out some of the things that we can do to not have to move this engine back 3 inches, but only 1 inch. And the crazy thing is, we're able to actually notch this thing in about 2 inches, 2.5 inches actually, from there to there. And then on top of that, we can then move the engine back maybe 1 inch after pulling it out. And then we can also probably make some changes here where we just kind of cut this line straight right here. So what I'm probably gonna do is start fully putting together this oil pan here and cutting out the notch on this. First, I'll probably do this so I can see more of what is gonna go on here because I'm gonna have to do it regardless. So I'm gonna get to some cutting and see what we get. Like I could break this right now. Look at how skinny that thing is. Can't believe it. That's how much room we need to cut. So if we can move the motor back just like this much, we'd be good. So after doing some sketching, if we cut this part here and we do a flat plate, that's all I would need to do, and I won't have to relocate the motor back. But there's problems with this. Your pickup tube and your baffle that holds your oil from sloshing around and actually picks up your oil, if those get interfered at all by that part right there, that could be an issue. And I need to see if that would be the case if I do this. So I'm gonna install that lightly and see what happens. So if I put that there, this here, you can actually peek in and see that it doesn't clear that area. See, it would hit, so that means I would have to extend it over however much this is to then clear this angle here. So the pickup tube needs to move over 1 inch. See, now this is scary when you mess with stuff like this because it's the reason why they design it like this. Most of the slosh will never leave the center. And if you move it away from it, most likely when you're braking and under load, it could potentially lose oil pressure if you have low oil or not filling it up enough. But the good thing is we're extending it further back towards where the oil is gonna go when you're accelerating. So at least that's not gonna become a big issue. This is getting sketchy now.
Will I be able to figure out a way to refab the oil pan to allow the new angle kit to fit, or will it be a waste of time? I really need this upgrade to complete Drift Week, which is only 3 weeks away. And with time running out, the pressure is on.